All right. Welcome back to the Melanin Me podcast.
Hey y'all. I was gonna say, what is going on? I still have a heavy heart that we'll get into, but hi everybody. We're back.
Yeah,
Live.
we're live. They're not going to hear it live.
We're live and we are alive. Yeah, we're not live, but
not live.
yeah.
Yes, we're hopping on here. It's a bit earlier than we usually do. This is a special dedicated episode that we felt like we had to hop on here and express our thoughts about Kobe Bryant's unfortunate passing.
Yeah.
Just shocking. Him and his daughter, as well as, I believe 7 other people that were on that helicopter with him. So
yeah, real life game changer right there. Where were you when you found out? I mean, I know you were getting ready for the Grammys and all of those sorts of things, but like, where were you in that? Because I feel like this type of incident, you remember what you were doing, where you were at, how you felt, like, you know what I mean? Like, so you were getting prepped for the Grammys.
Yeah, girl, I was already like kind of in panic mode because I was running behind.
Okay.
I had to go get my eyebrows done and all types. Like I was just running behind. So when I started doing my hair and my makeup, I literally just like turned my phone upside down. I was listening to music. I wasn't trying to even touch my phone.
Yeah.
So I didn't see all the text messages that had came through, but it was a group chat that I was in. And when I picked my phone up, finally dressed, about to walk out the house, it was literally like 40 messages in the group chat. And then 3 other people had texted me. And the first person my friend from out of town, she was actually in LA this weekend. So hers was the first text I had opened. And it was just like, oh my God, did you see what happened to Kobe? He died. Him and his daughters died in a plane crash. She said his daughters, plural, and I was like,
that's because everybody had thought that had been all these rumors that it was allegedly all his daughters. That for a little minute, we all thought, okay,
girl, it was just surreal, and I like stopped for a second because it just knocked the breath out of me, and I was just like, what? And I was like shaking a little bit. It was just shocking. And then for me to be in LA, and I already know so many people are in town right now for the Grammys, and I'm like excited and, already. And then it just like all that just crashed. I mean, it's minuscule in comparison to someone's life, but it's just like it really just shook me. I wasn't expecting that. Like that was like the last thing I was expecting. So it was just crazy. And then I think I text you and like 2 other people like immediately. And I called my mom on the way to the Grammys.
Yeah, my sister and I and my mom, we went to Atlanta Sunday, and around, I don't know, 2 Eastern time, which would have been, it might have been around 2:30 Eastern time, which would have been 11:30 Pacific time. Yeah. My husband texted me and was like, well, what happened was I looked at my phone, and before you open up a text message, if you send me 2 text messages and I open up the feed of the text messages, I'm going to see like the last line before I open it.
Exactly.
So the last line of one of the text messages was, I'm not sure if this is true. I'm trying to find more like articles. And I immediately was like, I already knew somebody died. And I just was like, I'm scared to open it up. So my heart just already, because I'm in anticipation of someone dying. So I open it up, and sure enough, it was Kobe. And he was like, I'm not sure. I haven't really seen anything. I'm trying to find more articles and more news. And so I immediately went into like detective mode, and I saw TMZ. That was the first thing that I saw. I actually went to TMZ because I feel like TMZ is very, they're always on the scene. I don't know how they always get. I feel like there's some kind of.
We'll get to that.
Right,
part.
Exactly.
But
so it's sad that like immediately I didn't think to go to CNN or like Fox News or something. I went to TMZ
or Shade Room.
Yes. So, and I saw this big article and I was like, oh my God. So then I was like, okay, TMZ still is TMZ. Let me see if it's, and so I told my mom and my sister, and my mom, she's just like, oh my God. My sister's like, oh my God. And sure enough, it was true.
The
And
thing about it is TMZ is never wrong. Like,
they're never wrong.
they're never wrong. And the day they are wrong, it's going to fuck up their whole reputation. Like,
Yeah.
it's sickening how
It
they
is.
just know things before mainstream media, because CNN and all them, they're going through checks and balances and shit.
CNN didn't even post, because I know my sister, when she finally saw it on CNN, she was like, okay, because my sister didn't even believe TMZ. She was like,
Wow.
and I was like, and I believe TMZ because, like you said, they're never wrong. So for me,
Yeah,
I had already made in my mind that he was dead. I didn't need to see it anywhere else. I just needed to see more people talk about it.
Yeah.
And then, so CNN didn't even post it for like another 15 minutes after I saw it on TMZ. So it just goes to show that, like, they were still, TMZ had been put out this information where all these other news channels that were significant and of validity took time to do it. So yeah, nonetheless, and you know, in Atlanta, we were at Papados, and
I really want to go there.
You just saw the spirit really of everyone. Everyone was in their phones, and you know, it was crazy. It was just crazy. And I was affected. I was impacted in ways that I felt like we just lost Nipsey less than a year ago. We haven't even really gotten through that. I'm not going to say get over, because you never really get over anything. You just kind of get through it. So we're still getting through Nipsey, and then here Kobe, and then in both the same city on the night of the Grammys in the Staples Center. Like, it just was overwhelming.
It was overwhelming to the fact where it just didn't seem real. Like, it still almost doesn't feel real, but just the dramatics of like you said, the Grammy night and all of that. And then like literally I find out about this man's death within 15 minutes. I'm in downtown Los Angeles, smack dab at the Staples Center. I'm outside waiting to get into the Grammys. There's pictures of him coming up, shrines, crying fans, flowers. Like, it was so much for me to process in 10 minutes. I'm just like, what's going, like, this is just insane to me, you know? And I had called my mom and told her, and she didn't even know. She said she knew about Kobe dying, but she didn't know about his daughter being on the flight. So it was like boom, boom. It was just layer after layer of bad news, you know, just like, what? This is
And not
insane.
only was it a layer of bad news, it was like you were engulfed in it. Like for us, we're in Nashville, we're in Georgia, we're in all these places looking through our phones and media. You're actually you're in spaces at that moment where, you know what I'm saying? So I can only imagine. Unfortunately, and I'll own this on my part, you know, I had been so excited, and I know you've been excited about the Grammys, but I had been so excited that you were attending the Grammys, and us actually on our next podcast talking about the experience, like red carpet, who'd you see? Did you mingle? And the night that the day that he died or whatever, I'm looking at your stories because I'm like, oh my God, Whitney's there. What is she seeing? Like, what is she seeing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking at it instead of looking at like how your experience was. I'm looking like, okay, what are you seeing like live? Do you know what I'm saying? As well as looking at everything else.
It definitely changed the entire energy of everything. But what I have to say, that whole day, because I got up early that morning to go, like I said, get my eyebrows done and run a few more errands that I had to do. And it was a gloomy day in LA. It was cold.
Everybody's been saying that who lives in LA.
Dark.
They all said that.
Cloudy. It was because I was debating. I was like, oh, should I wear a jacket? Should I not wear a jacket? And then that morning I was like, it's so damn cold and gloomy. I'm wearing my little fur coat, you know? And I was just so stunned by the circumstances of him being in a helicopter, especially just being in the city that day and seeing just how cloudy. I thought it may rain possibly. Like, it was just not a good weather day at all in LA. So it's just like, it further just confused me. Like, why was this even occurring? Like, I just don't get it, you know? It was just too much. And then let's just talk about like the power of social media, because it's like when this shit dropped, like we getting 3, 4, 5 different versions of the story. And it's just like that even plays more on like your emotions and your reactions. Like people become even more invested because things are changing every minute by the minute, and everybody has access to this information. So it's just like a roller coaster emotions with everything. Cause they had said, somebody in the group chat was like, I think Rick Fox was on the plane. And then somebody was like, yeah, I think two or 3 of his daughters was on the plane.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? Like, this is just
bananas.
It was just too much.
Oh, and then they said 5 people were on the helicopter, and then it became 9 people were
It was
on the helicopter.
7 and 9, and I'm just like, what's I didn't, when I heard 9, I was just like, well, what helicopter is 9 is a lot of people. Like, I just
9 is a hell of a lot of people. The helicopter I was on, it could be a smooth 3-4 people. 4 people at the max. So
see, and helicopters are very popular in LA. Like, I've had a few friends who have suggested, oh, do you want to go on helicopter rides to Catalina and all this? And I'm doing this for my birthday. And I'm just like, no, like, I don't fuck with none of that airbound shit unless I have to get from to and fro. Like, that's it and that's all. But people do that leisurely here. So, of course, if you're a multimillionaire, I'm sure, riding, and they said he had been riding this helicopter for decades. So
yeah, and a lot of the reason why he came out, and we posted it on our podcast, was because there's been jerks and assholes that have said, why would he take this is what you get when you have a lot of money and you start doing that. And it's like, no, like, he's had this helicopter for 20 years, damn near 20 years. He came out and he has said that it allowed him to be with his family, so it wasn't leisure. It wasn't like, it was literally, I get up at 3 a.m., I work out, I get back at 6 a.m. so I can take the kids to school. Yeah. Then I go to practice all these hours. Then I take the helicopter back home so I can go and pick up my kids, even though my wife is like, no, I'll pick up the kids. He's like, no, I got this. I want to do this. So it enabled him to be in 2 spaces and do what he needed to do really well, which was be a father and a good player. And so,
and honestly,
again,
that just makes it that much more sad,
It does. It does.
He did this literally so that he could be closer to his family.
Yes.
Spend more time with his family.
I mean, think about it. He took the helicopter to go to basketball practice, to cut through. Like, he died doing what he loved to do, which was to be a dad, and
it showed what came first. Like, I was telling my coworker today, I was like, Kobe Bryant could have retired and did anything he wanted to do. He could have been on Sports Center. He could have been coaching college or assistant coach in fucking NBA. He could have literally did whatever he wanted to do. And that man wanted to build up a foundation and a system, a team for young female athletes, because his daughters were young female athletes. Yes. Like, that shows the dedication of this man and what was truly important to him.
Exactly.
Like, that's just amazing. And it's just like, it really pisses me off that there's deadbeat dads out here living till they're 98 years old, and then we have an amazing father of 4 kids who devoted his whole life, and he gets taken out so young. He has all these kids who he would have been there till their dying day. And it's just like, life is so fucking unfair.
Life is unfair. And also, yeah, and I think that also, to add to all of that, I really felt touched and even more like shit, because I'm like, it just makes you feel even more like, gosh, like, even more bad or sad or whatever the emotion is you're in within your when you're going through it. But I was talking to my family and I was like, listen, he spent all his life dedicated to this game, right? And he did things really well. He was disciplined, he was committed, he was consistent, obviously. And then the minute he wants to retire, and, and the thing about it is, when you are a basketball player, and I don't even want to say sports, but if we're speaking specifically to him, he sacrificed a lot. Vanessa, his family sacrificed a lot by not having him there as much as he, so at this point when he's retired, it's like, oh my God, we finally get to be a family. We finally get to, be kind of regular a little bit. And then 3.5 years later, you die and you don't even really get to enjoy all your sacrifice that you've made for your family, for the fans, for all these other people. Like, I'm like, golly, like, it just breaks my heart because I'm
It's so
like,
fucked up.
what is the fucking point? Like, what is the point? Why give? And his body, they said, and another reason he took a helicopter, he said too, was so that he could feel refreshed. He can't be in a car longer than 2 hours. His hands, they said his body was fucked up after 20 years. His hands, his shoulders, his legs, you know, so when he wants to go somewhere, you know, to actually sit, he's not trying to sit in a car for an hour and a half, 2 hours, then also sit in a game for 3 hours. It's so sad. And I know football players go through the same thing where they invest their bodies and they're banged up and all these things. But you know, tonight we're speaking about Kobe and those families. It breaks my heart in every way. In the more details that I find out, he crashed at the rate of the speed that he did. So I'm thinking like, okay, oh my God, like it's too much. And if we didn't have our podcast, I'd be off social media for this week. Like I need to just, do you know what I mean? But like, this is a prime time for us to be like, we've gotten, and I know this isn't what it's about, but you know, we're in media, we're in production, we are pop culture. So our responsibility is to provide our viewers and our fans with all of the latest news that as we get it. And it just, man, like I said, the more details that unfold, hey, did you hear about girl? Did you know? Girl, they just said, and it's like, okay, yeah. I can't take it.
And I'm trying to just really stay on like what is official.
What's official?
And I know there's still just a lot of questions surrounding what actually happened because they only have so much data to go off of. Apparently this helicopter didn't have a black box, wasn't required to have a black box. And the black box, not only does it record like the audio from the cockpit, but it also records like the helicopter's movements and the path and everything, all that type of data that can really track and they can figure out what happened. But they only have so much. And they have like the pilot's, I think the pilot's communication to the tower, I think his last communication to the tower was like 30 minutes before they found the wreck or something, or I don't know. They said it was like he asked for clearance. From what I heard from the press conference, what I think I heard, because it was kind of technical, but it was something about he asked for the clearance to go up because he was hovering super low, waiting for the fog, because they had been hovering for about 20, 30 minutes in a circle, just waiting it out. I'm sure nobody on board honestly thought anything was wrong because this is a, you know, very expert pilot, experienced pilot, and this is Kobe Bryant. Like, this isn't no cheap shit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sure everybody.
And the helicopter, to add to that really quick, the helicopter, they said that I forgot the hours, but it was like every 12 hours or so. It was a short hour window. That helicopter would get maintenance, regular maintenance. It was up to date on all of its whatever. It was the creme de la creme of helicopter, even though it was built in 91, which to me, every time I watch I watch like these boat shows and plane shows, that a lot of these wealthy people, they get old planes. You know, so it wasn't uncommon for me to hear that it was built in 1991. My thing was, okay, what about the maintenance? And apparently this helicopter was the shit. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but go ahead.
Yeah, apparently it was. I mean,
apparently it was.
I did hear it was old. I heard it was like 10 years old, but 91.
That's 91.
Crazy. That's like damn near 30 years old. Right. But I don't know I'm not no aviation expert, so I don't know if that's bad or good to have an old plane or helicopter. But what I have been seeing is that, you know, it was a few helicopters that were grounded in the area because of the weather. LAPD said that they didn't deploy any of their helicopters out that day because of the fog. And I live in LA, and there's always helicopters circling around just random times of day, night. It's just normal to hear choppers in LA. And for them to not be deployed off the ground, and for air traffic control to make all of the helicopters that were in the air stay low and circle in the area until the fog cleared, it's just like, I'm not understanding why this pilot proceeded to go through the fog. Like, y'all already knew the situations were dangerous. Apparently, from what I thought I heard from that press conference, was that he got clearance from the tower to go up after he had been circling super low for about 20, 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, why did he get clearance, especially if damn LAPD is not even flying today? Like, I'm just not understanding. It's too many missing pieces to this puzzle. I just need some official reports, some official shit to come out.
So they're based on the audio that I heard paired with, one of these reputable places. They were saying that from what they know from the conversations that we actually got to hear, yes, he did get clearance because he was flying VFR, which is like visual, like, the helicopter, he's flying based on what he sees, which is a common, I guess, practice amongst pilots. Then when it became to a point where I guess weather conditions got bad, he was flying low until he could get clearance, like you just mentioned, so he could get, some help. So what happened was, from what I heard, was that another way that you can fly if you're not doing VFR weather conditions is like IVR. Don't quote me, guys. It was another form. Instead of doing it visually, it's more based on your instruments, and that requires assistance from the tower.
Flight control, yeah.
Flight control. The only issue with that is that they were saying that you have to wait your turn, no matter if you're Kobe or not. So, if they had other people in line that they were helping. So that would require them to fly in a circle for about an hour or so, until it got to their turn. Right. So he did reach, because there had been rumors. It was like, why didn't he ask for help? Why didn't he do IFR, whatever the other one was?
He did, I think.
He asked, this is where you were saying he got clearance. He asked to have whatever happen so he could be guided. And they said he was flying too low to where they couldn't pick him up on the radar, which they would have to fly higher so that they could get, see where he is, because he was flying too low. Now, what we do apparently know is that the where he was when he was lower, he could at least see. He could see. When he got higher to, I guess, get on the radar so he could be helped,
it was like he was flying blind, is what they said.
They were saying that the weather just got so bad, and that whenever you are, and these are from other pilots, they were saying whenever, in my brother-in-law, he flies planes, and he was saying that you do become disoriented when you can't see. It's almost like you're flying in a soup just of clouds. And as we know with airplanes, they can go above the clouds, above the fog. Helicopters don't have that same range. So when he got up so high, I guess the weather conditions got even worse. So they're saying they're not in his brain, but they're just basically saying it's not uncommon for people to become disoriented. Like, oh my God, what do? I panic.
But my thing is the speed, because they said he decelerated or accelerated, whatever it was, very quickly.
He accelerated quick, and then he made a quick left turn, and then he decelerated.
And that was the mountain or something. He hit the mountainside, apparently. I don't know. I really don't know. We don't know. Shit.
We don't know. We weren't in there. We weren't in the pilot's head. We still don't have all the information. They're still investigating, so it's hard to tell. We just kind of have to go off what we do know. But again, it's so unfortunate. It's like, I just keep replaying those last few seconds. I'm like, okay, did they know they were good? Because I know how I am with turbulence. If I feel a plane go like this or like this, like, I'm grabbing people who I don't even know next to me, like, oh my God.
From what I heard, they said it was like a 12 or 15 second, probably
like drop
reaction from the time that he started to ascend or descend really quickly and hit the mountain. So that's 12 or 15 seconds to figure out what is going on. But I mean, I just don't know. I've never ridden a helicopter or chopper, but I think, don't people have to wear headphones?
I'll never ride a helicopter again. For me, I always said this.
They said it's very dangerous.
The first and only time I rode it was over the Grand Canyon. And my family decided to put me in front for whatever reason. I think it was because I was the smallest at the time. And if you are in a helicopter, the front of the aircraft, or whatever you want to call it, they don't have a floor. I mean, they have a floor, but it's clear. So you see everything underneath your feet. So I'm flying, and it's like a lot of turbulence in a helicopter.
No.
We're flying over the Grand Canyon, and I'm just freaking out the whole time. I have these headphones on, and my family's laughing at me because I'm just freaking out. Like, I hate small aircrafts. I hate small spaces. I hate small planes.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking about. So everyone in a helicopter, because I've never ridden it, but doesn't everyone have to wear the headphones?
Everyone has to wear the headphones.
Right. So I'm thinking they're all communicating with each other, or they're hearing what the pilot's saying. Like, everyone's probably just hearing what the pilot's saying or what each other are saying because of the headphones.
I don't know if it's because of the noise or that. I don't know. I don't even remember why I had to hear I just remember everyone, because it was 4 of us. It was the pilot, me, my brother, and my brother-in-law and my sister. And we all had, and I just don't remember, did I hear anything, or was it because of the noise? Because they're very loud.
See, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't even know if you could talk to each other in that, but then I don't know what type of chopper that is. That could be a very luxurious type of, I don't know.
As we know, in private planes, you're not necessarily required to do the same things you are in a commercial flight. I mean, yes, safety first, in private stuff. But what I'm saying is you have more leisure because it's your plane. So we don't know. We don't know. We don't know.
It's just a crazy time. And it's just like people, of course, when things like this happen, people have just a million questions and they just try to figure out how could this be possible. But it is what it is. Unfortunately, I posted this on our page, but unfortunately it came out that TMZ was actually the first media source to leak this information, and they did so before any of the family members were notified. Allegedly, Vanessa Bryant, she found out over social media.
Oh, did she? Is that
allegedly,
what they're saying?
That from the blogs I've been watching, they're saying sources have said that she found out by somebody showing her something what they saw on social media, or hearing hearsay basically of social media, and the hearsay got back to her. I don't know if she physically saw it or what, but she didn't find out from an official source, and the official source is usually, before they release those names, a police officer's at your front door, so that you don't have to learn that way.
Of this news. And I'm sure they still did that,
they did, but
formality,
it was too late. Yeah, it was too late. So it's just like, it's in the LA sheriff in particular, they chastised TMZ and was like, it's just despicable that they would do that, and it's like, TMZ, y'all make plenty of fucking money. Of course, this is probably the biggest story. Like, Nipsey and Kobe are probably the 2 most shocking stories in the last year. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, where is the line crossed? Like, how much does money mean to you over like human decency?
Right.
Like, that's just disgusting. That's crazy. Like, why do you even have to be the first to drop it? Like, you're still going to get the same amount of views as if you reported it 2 seconds after it was dropped. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why they have to be the first on stuff like that.
When it comes to stuff like that, we just live in a desensitized world now. It's just, the times that we live in are very scary. I say this all the time. Like, if I could just be me in the 90s, like, girl, don't get me wrong, the 90s had their own shit. They had their own problems. But my God, like, I do feel like there was a sense of decency and humanity and humility within our country that we just don't have now. Like, I mean, we have a Joker as president. I mean, that's a whole nother episode. I'm just saying, like, the times that we live in are very, very different, very, very scary. And it makes me just more and more aware of, like, okay, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? And I know that this death for me, about Kobe and the victims and all that kind of stuff and his daughter, it really just makes me soft. Anything that mattered, that was so like insignificant at one point, it just doesn't matter anymore. Like, and I know that deaths do that from time to time, like Nipsey, that impacted a lot of people. I'm sure Tupac, Biggie, I'm sure, Whitney Houston, Michael, I'm sure a lot of deaths impact certain people in different ways. But there are certain deaths to me that I'm like, or certain events that even happen where it's like, okay, wait a minute, like, what am I doing with my life? I was literally in my spin class talking about some Mamba mentality. Like, high key, what would Kobe do? Push through. Like, I don't want this. I don't want this to be, for me, literally rest in peace post my day goes. First of all, I can't even go on. Like, I mean, I'm going on, but it's so heavy that it's really a conscious effort for me to move forward, right? But I am trying to be more present in moments with the people that I love, more sensitive to their feelings, more just more present, really, is all I can really say. I'm not saying that make up with people who did you wrong in the past just because someone died. Fuck that. No, stay your ass back there. I'm speaking to, those small little dumb arguments that you may hold on to. If you and your family member that, you rocked with, blah, 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 like some stuff just doesn't matter. I'm speaking to that kind of stuff. And for me, it's hard for me not to want to be a better person when something like this happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think this is a very impactful passing. It really just put Kobe's whole life in, reflection. People are just like, you really were amazing. Like, this man was really amazing. And he did get a lot of his flowers while he was here. You know what I'm saying? He really did. But I think he's getting even more so now because he represents like a whole era, like most of us grew up with Kobe being like the top athlete, like throughout our childhood, teenage, adult years.
That's all I remember is Kobe Bryant. I mean, Michael Jordan, I remember Michael Jordan, but I was 10 when
we were real
Bulls
young, and then it was like
we were
Kobe,
real young.
and now it's kind of like LeBron just represents like the death of an era. Like, it's just like
it's crazy. And I found it to be interesting too. Kobe was on one of these like Today shows a couple years ago, and he was asked, do you miss basketball? Do you miss it? And he was like, no. And he said it so surely. And he was like, I don't miss it because I gave it all I had, and at the end of the day, there is a finality to things. I tell athletes all the time, what are you going to do after this? Like, there's something beyond this, right? And if basketball lived within him. So the things that he learned and the principles that he took from basketball, the game of basketball, that's in him. That doesn't go anywhere. But he's like, as far as playing, shooting, all that kind, he's like, no, I'm done. He's like, there's a difference between what you do and who you are. And I did basketball, but I'm not basketball. That's not just me. You know what I mean? So I just found that to be so impactful because it's so true. It's so true. It's like, okay, this man's character, like if he was a shitty asshole, like some basketball players that we know that just are a hot mess, it's different. But the reason why I feel like it did hit the way that it did is because his character spoke volumes beyond basketball. Like, my God, So it just, it feels like the good guys always have to like take a L sometimes, It's like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But if nothing else, I send my prayers to the Bryant family, all of the victims, and their family members and their friends and their loved ones. I really don't even feel like what I'm saying is enough, but you really are in my thoughts and prayers beyond a post saying you're in my thoughts. And I legit pray for you all and your peace and hope that one day you can just smile again and just move through all of this is really all I can say at this point. So we'll continue to follow the story, and as things develop, we'll make sure that we try to post and put out factual from reputable resources as well, or channels. But until then, I'm just posting memories like that Brandy and Kobe video. That was so cute. It was so innocent. It was so just like, oh, like it's a good time. I just want to, good memories. So that's all I got. Mamba out. Mia out. I'm just playing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
just keep us updated too, Whitney, on like LA and because I don't know. I just feel like they're saying that the Staples Center may be too small for the funeral. So I don't know. Would you ever go if it was open to the public? Would you ever go to like a funeral like that? Like, I know Nipsey died or whatever the case is, but like, would you ever just like go, or is that something, if it was someone who you like admired, would you go to the funeral? Because I think Nipsey's was open to the public, I believe.
So yeah, they did like a lottery for Nipsey's, apparently, because they did like a lottery because
okay,
they didn't have enough seats, I think. But
okay,
I wouldn't want to go. No,
yeah,
it's not out of disrespect, but
yeah,
I don't want to go to any funerals unless I absolutely have to go.
yeah, I got you.
That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
I've dealt with death at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
So like my first funeral I can recall is like 5 years old. So it's just like I don't really want to experience that unless I absolutely have to. And I just feel like I can respect him. You know, I didn't know him personally,
For
but
sure.
his energy, I never felt no bad energy with Kobe. Like even when like the whole like scandals came up and the cheating thing and the allegation, I just felt like I don't know. I never felt like he was a scumbag. Like I felt like even if he had cheated or whatever, he tried to make it right. Like he went all the way to make it right. He bought Vanessa that big ass ring that was like in the media for a year and a half. Like he went out his way to like let everyone know that he had messed up and he would do anything to get that woman back, you know? So he always just seemed like a stand-up dude. Like he just did to me. And it's just unfortunate. I think a lot of men are affected by this death because, you know, men sometimes they don't really process those emotions, but
these men
boys
have
that
been
grew up in the 90s idolize Kobe Bryant. I know so many men that broke down and cried because of Kobe Bryant's death. Like
a lot of my peers, I have 2 guy friends, they named their son Kobe. So I immediately, when I found this out, I went to their page. I was like, how y'all doing? You know, like not literally reaching out, but I'm just like, what are they going to post? Because their sons are named Kobe. My husband, his friends, even though they grew up on Michael Jordan, they still know they grew within Kobe as well. And they full grown men, 40 years old, bawling, crying, hot mess. Yeah. It's hard not to be.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, this death is really impactful, especially for people who just haven't dealt with that. Like I've always kind of felt like, oh, I gotta like tell people I love them. I gotta like show love because I don't know how long I'm gonna be here. I don't know how long they're gonna be here. Like I just always had that pending fear that, and I still do, but not as much. I'm not as fearful of it, but it still just like takes my breath away because I know at any point everything could change in an instant. Like I'm aware of that constantly. So when things like this happen to me, it's more so like, okay, time is ticking, Whitney, and you got to really get your shit together as much as possible and keep pushing, because like when people like this who die at such a young age and they're so accomplished, and I can't help but to compare my life to theirs and be like, well, damn, like what am I doing? I gotta keep it pushing so that when it is my time, I feel satisfied with like what I did here, you know? So that's just the main thing I'm taking from it, and love on the people who love on you. I do want to shout out, you know, because we are focusing so much on Kobe, like his daughter, Gianna, she was an amazing basketball player. They said she was just like, Kobe said she was better than he was at that age, you know, like she had potential. All her other teammates on that plane, I'm sure they had potential, their parents, all of those people. I know that people are focusing on Kobe so much because we grew up with Kobe, but you know, our hearts go to everyone affected in this horrific incident.
Everyone. You know? And I know, and also the victims on that plane, I think there was a mom and a dad and a daughter. So they leave behind a brother and a sister. So I'm like, they lost both their parents, you know, at the very least. Thank God Vanessa's kids have one parent. But yeah, like my heart, when I found out there was a mom and a dad and a daughter and they had kids back at home.
There's going to be like there, because of all of that, and the fact that a lot of those people on that plane worked for Kobe's organization, Mamba. And this is a work situation. Like this has layers to it. Like there may be some legalities to it because these families are going to be impacted somebody has to be responsible on some type of level to pay insurance. You just never know. Like, this could get messy. I hope it doesn't get messy, but I do think there has to be like a investigation and a determination of what actually happened.
Oh
So
yeah. They say it could take a full year for us
I
to
could see
really
that.
know. For us to really, really know, it could take a full year. Hell, they just recovered all 9 bodies like a day ago.
Yeah. And I'm
They
sure, I don't even
so
want to
they
think about it. Oh, Jesus.
and to identify them, they had to do fingerprints because everybody just looked different.
Ooh,
So what
Lord.
I'm saying is like, I know everybody wants more and more information, but this
It's
shit's
going
gotta
to take
bake. It's for us to
a
get the
while.
real. It's
Yeah.
gonna take a minute because they've gotta trust and believe they will piece this together.
Oh, they have to.
They will piece this together.
They have to. They have
But
to.
in the meantime, we're just spectators, and yeah.
And
So
this is just the beginning because, like you said, it's going to be a funeral that's going to be public. The city, like,
yes,
y'all, LA can't take no more losses. Like, the people of LA, like, LA is its own little country in a way.
it
And
is. Y'all do
they
what the
have
fuck you
been
guys want to do.
they praise the Lakers and Nipsey Hussle and people, LA legends that, like, even if the world didn't recognize them, LA recognized them.
LA stands up.
And I can
Yeah.
feel, like, even in my office, everybody's wearing their Lakers jerseys in my office, and like, people are really devastated. They turned some of the buildings into purple and yellow, and put the number 24 on some of the buildings downtown. This is just going to take a while, I think, for people to really get over this one. I don't think no one's ever going to get over this one, actually.
All you can do is get through it.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime anybody dies or any type of tragic, I don't think anybody ever gets over it. You feel it, you get through it, and you move forward, with it. But nobody ever, I think, gets over something.
No.
You just figure out a way to manage through it,
Yeah.
So I do feel like Kobe would want us all. I did, in light of the situation. I saw a meme that was like, Kobe's looking down at us like, what the fuck you crying for? Like, get your shit together. Like, did you go to the gym today? Like, so I'm like trying to be, like, what would Kobe do? So I legit, like I told you, I was in a spin class, like, I need to sit my ass down. Nah, Kobe wouldn't do it. Kobe wouldn't do it. Mama mentality. And it was like all white people music. So I really had to like zone in because that's a whole nother conversation. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But rest in peace, Kobe. Rest in peace, Gianna. Rest in peace to all of the other victims. And their, the people who they've lost, their loved ones. And we'll continuously, y'all be in our prayers.
Yep. Y'all can let us know your thoughts, feelings, emotions. You can hit us up at Melanin Me podcast on Instagram, or you can send us an email at askmelaninme. Is that the email? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Ask Melanin Me.
askmelaninme@gmail.com.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
All right. Until next time, Mamba out.
Out.
Mm-hmm.